Well, welcome out there once again to my show. Always happy and glad that you're out there watching. I appreciate that. It makes me feel that the show is making some progress. Well, we've been on the air for about 10 years, so I'm sure that a lot of you have seen me before, and you'll see me in the future too. We have basically sort of a round table when it comes to the school department. I wouldn't say school department, but school issues in the city of Fall River. I usually have Gabe Andrade, who is here. Gabe, welcome to the program once again.
Thank you for having me.
Nice to have you. Joe Martins, I'm not sure where he is, but if he comes in a little late, we'll have him hooked in to the microphone, and he'll be part of the show too. So, Gabe, anything new in the school department you might want to mention?
Definitely something new. We are in the second phase of the superintendent search. The search committee last week finished their interviews, and they recommended 3 candidates to be interviewed by the full committee, which will be done tomorrow, as a matter of fact, at BCC. And so
you'll be interviewing the 3 of them?
Correct. Not all at the same time. There was one at 5 o'clock, one at, I believe, 6:30, and one at, I think it's 8.
Now,
so
the full committee?
Full committee.
At BCC?
At BCC,
now,
yes.
Is this open to the public?
Absolutely.
And in the auditorium?
It's building C. I think that's the main cafeteria building. I'm not absolutely sure, but that sounds like the logical place, building C.
Okay, in a cafeteria?
I think it is, or maybe the room just off the cafeteria.
All right, so it must be a pretty big room.
I would think it is.
I mean, if the public, you know.
If it's C1, that might be that room just to the right, which is pretty good size, actually.
And so that's tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
And what time again?
The first starts at 5, and then there's one at 6:30, and the last one will be at 8.
Okay, so each candidate gets roughly
an hour and a half.
Hour and a half. That's quite a bit of.
Well, it sounds that way, but in talking to a few members of the search committee, they said that they felt at times that they were rushed, that it wasn't enough time. It seems like it should be,
yeah.
But if somebody is particularly long-winded, I guess it can get a little bit tough. And I think particularly in terms of the last time that they met, they actually had to discuss after the interview, the last interview, the relative merits of the candidates, because they had to recommend 3 to the full committee. And some of them felt it was a little rushed, and they maybe didn't have an opportunity to say everything that they wanted to say.
So you think an hour and a half will be enough?
Well, we're just interviewing the candidates, so I am certainly hoping so.
Now,
I know if it were I on the other side of the table, I wouldn't be able to wait till it was over. But
okay, all right. So. When it's finished tomorrow night, will you be making a recommendation immediately?
Probably not, because
what I should say is, will you be voting? I guess. I guess it's a vote.
Right, but my impression is that we may not vote on that day, because there's a possibility that we may check out things further. There may be a possibility of visiting the sites, possibly. So I have
the city's just going through a little problem with the who's it?
Oh, the
DCM?
Public Works, the DCM, right?
Yeah,
so
the vetting process wasn't.
So it may not be an immediate vote. That was the impression that I got. So we may have to meet again to actually take that vote on who we'll select.
So then, when you're sitting on the committee, I would imagine that something might come in that you come out from one of the candidates that you might personally want to further investigate.
Yes, it could be.
You know, I've got a diploma from here, and I've got this from here, and I got a degree from there, and maybe something might not kind of. So you would want.
That's correct. Like for instance, someone just gave me some information today on one of the candidates, which made me really question some of the assumptions that I had about that particular person. So you can get different information at any time in the process, and better to get it than not to get it at all.
Now, all right, suppose you do find something, some information out, will there be, you might call a recall of a candidate?
Well, no, here's the thing. You want to be careful that doesn't happen. You want to have all the information prior to taking a vote, because as you saw with the situation with DCM, that can get to be very messy if you hire the person and you say, oh, wait a minute, I think we made a mistake.
No, maybe you misunderstood my question.
Oh, you mean bring the person back for another interview? Probably not. Probably what will happen is we'll just take that into consideration when we take our votes.
So in other words,
for instance, if you look terrific, but something came up that seems to call that into question, and now instead of voting for you for the job, we vote for somebody else.
All right, so after the interviews are finished, you will meet school committee, and then at that time, would you think you might have an opportunity to bring up any discrepancies? So the meeting is held, and the candidates, one of the candidates is going to be chosen, but you want to have the floor in the sense that you've got some information and you think the committee should know at that time.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure.
Vote.
Now, I don't know. I know that the interviews have to be done in public. If we have a full committee, then any discussion on our part of the relative members will have to be in the open too. So we can't just. My impression, given that it is a full committee, is that we cannot go in the back room and hash this out and then come out and say, take a vote. We're voting for this person, because it seems that would be violating the open meeting law. So any discussion would probably also have to be in public.
Do you think the candidate should be forewarned that something might be brought up so that the candidate might choose to withdraw?
We can discuss that, and
would that be an open session or a closed session?
Again, if it's a full committee, it's most likely going to be an open session.
But you do go into executive session with full committees.
Right, for specific situations, like if there is a personnel issue, usually involving discipline, that is often an executive session. If there is negotiations, if it's related to negotiations, that can go into executive session. There's a legal issue, that can go into executive session. There are not too many more issues that allow for use in executive session. I think the deliberation on, and this is my impression, I may be wrong, but if deliberation on the relative merits of candidates for a particular job probably does not qualify for an executive session.
Well, let's say, for instance, a candidate is chosen, and is the next step the negotiation of salary?
Correct. Now in salary, working conditions, whatever.
So Mr. X or Mrs. X is chosen, and what happens after that when it comes to salary? Are they called back in to a full committee meeting?
We could negotiate privately with the candidate. If he agrees, then we simply it's simply an announcement, because he's already been picked.
Because that's the contract part.
Correct. Right now we've negotiated the contract with him. We have an agreement. Now it's simply a question of announcing that we have an agreement with the candidate, and he will start on such a date.
So
now, if we do not, and this could happen, we could not come to an agreement on salary or benefits, whatever, and if there's an impasse and we simply cannot get past this, then that person is out, and we would have to try to negotiate a contract with the next person in line.
So, but you would have to, I imagine you'd have to have some sort of a meeting to pick the next person. Or are you going
Or
to pick
may-
number one? Are you going to pick number two and number three?
Probably, that
that'll
would
be it?
because there's a time element here now, too. We're
Yeah.
already in mid, well, actually, in late June, or mid-June, let's say. This is going to take time. Even if, let's say we pick a candidate next week. We have the interviews on Thursday. Let's say we get together someday next week, Monday, Tuesday, whatever, and we say candidate A is going to be our superintendent. Now you're going to negotiate a contract with him. How long could that take? I mean, it could be a matter of minutes, but it could also be a matter of days.
But you have an assistant superintendent.
We
So,
do.
I mean, you don't have to have someone come in the moment, you know, that the contract with the other superintendent is finished.
In a perfect world, that's true.
Okay, but this, you're saying, what's imperfect about this?
Well, there may not be anything imperfect, but let's just say, without giving out too much information, it may not be a perfect situation.
Yeah. Now, three candidates, anyone from within the system?
This system? No.
Yeah.
No.
So all out of the system?
All out of the system. In fact, I found out through the grapevine that there was maybe one candidate from within the system who did apply but did not make the final cut.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if there were any more, but of the finalists, these three were well outside the system.
And they were chosen by the screening committee, not by
Correct.
the school committee.
Correct. There were three members of the school committee on that search committee, but the majority of them, I think there may have been 14 members, were from outside of the, were not school committee members. There are a variety of different people from different walks of life.
Now, the school budget, that's pretty much been finished in that sense, and that it's now part of the city's budget.
Correct. It is being taken up as part of the complete city budget by the city council. In fact, they've been discussing the budget as a whole just as late as yesterday, or as recently as yesterday.
Yeah, the city council, but apparently they haven't made a decision.
Oh,
Is that
no,
correct?
no. It seems like they're at the beginning stages. They have until the end of the month, until June 30th, because July 1st starts the new fiscal year. There's some rumblings that some are claiming that they didn't have enough information on late changes that were made. I didn't get to read the article in the paper today, which gave the thoughts on just exactly what people were thinking.
There was a city councilor on the radio, and he apparently hinted there might, well, what he basically said, there needs to be 5 city councilors that say yes, that approve the budget.
Really?
Yeah, that's what he said. So, but he...
Oh, that's right. That's 5 out of 9.
Yeah.
That would be the majority, yes.
Yeah, but he didn't think, he wasn't sure at this time if there were 5. So, but you're part of the school committee, the school department budget, which is part of the whole city budget. That cannot be changed.
No, my impression is that they vote on the entire budget, which
Now, let's
includes
say, okay, they vote, they can't increase it or decrease it. But if they reject the budget, if they don't approve the budget, and they turn it back to the administration, then the school department part of the budget could come back to you people. Is that correct?
It's possible. The mayor could say, look, you know, we have a problem. We can't get this budget passed because a number of members have a problem with this item in your budget. So yes, it could possibly come back to us if it is known that they're having a problem with something specifically in the school department budget.
No. What about net school spending? We hear about that. I mean, that seems to be a convoluted subject, to say the least.
It is a convoluted subject.
Has that let me ask you simply, has that been resolved?
For the most part, I think so. I think this year, when we don't have a deficit in terms of net school spending,
Okay,
I
no.
think that there's.
But there were prior years?
I think part of now you had indicated this is confusing. It is that confusing that I'm not absolutely positively sure, but I think that there's still money that the city has to send to the school department next fall. That is probably because of last year's a problem or whatever. It's going to be rolled over into next fall.
Yeah, because they had the school department a number of weeks or months ago was saying that they should be given X number of dollars for some reason I don't recall, and the city was saying no. You've got this figured wrong. Your method of calculation is not quite right, and our method of calculation, the city, is the correct method.
Right. I think the way it worked out, the city has already given us $1 million, I think, which was what the mayor had promised he would give us for. This was for last year, and then with certain problems, certain issues this year, I think he is planned to give us $1.5 million next year, next fall. I think. Toward the end, it got so convoluted that you know it was almost difficult to put together. Apparently, everybody was satisfied, but that's the impression I have. There $1 million this year that we got, and $1.5 million for next year. I think.
All right. It's not satisfaction out of frustration that you can't resolve it.
No, I think people felt that that the mayor seemed to, once he finally started moving on this, after a state decision that was made pretty late in the school year, where he started moving pretty quickly and resolved things reasonably quickly and smoothly. So.
Now, there was a lot of talk about pink slips going out in the school department. We know that's happened apparently, well, in fact, in the DCM, Department of Community Maintenance. School layoffs?
There were a few based on the
what kind of layoffs? Administration, teachers?
There were some administrators, particularly two administrators at Durfee, or two administrative positions, because when you cut, you don't cut a person, you cut a position. So that person could possibly stay, depending on the circumstances, whether it's if he's a union person, he might be able to bump to a position that he's qualified for. If he is not, he or she is not a union person, then he might still be able to, you know, there might be an opening that he could apply for. So it's not necessarily the person, it is the position.
Maybe if someone
exactly. So that position is not open. Now you were laid off, but that position is open, and you can bid on that particular job. I know the two administrative positions at Durfee were an associate principal's position, and now, interestingly enough, I understand that person got a job, I believe it was in Attleboro, so that person will not go without a job. This person simply will not be working in the Fall River system. There was another person, a redesign coach at Durfee, who was also laid off. I can't remember whether, I'm not sure whether she found a job. I thought I heard she found a job somewhere else also. So it's,
So there weren't that many?
There were 40-some, I think for something like 49 overall, but the thought was that most of them would either would be able to find a job elsewhere, or find a job even within our system when you consider
so it was actually
vacant
affected
positions.
49 people?
Yes.
How many are employed in that category of, administrators, teachers?
Those particular jobs at Durfee were, one was, that was the only one in the system, associate principal.
No, how many people work for the school department?
Total?
Yeah, in those categories, not custodians and, you know, but school teachers, administration.
I couldn't give you exact figures. I think
So,
I've
but
heard.
is 49 a great number in comparison to total employees?
I think total employment is over 800, I believe.
So 49 is not,
It's relatively small.
in a sense, yeah. So, but that seems to be something that might be taken care of.
In a way,
itself.
one way, maybe not to everybody's satisfaction, but it seems like most people have a job to come to. If they want it, there may be a few who won't be able to, but I think that that'll be minimal.
When is the superintendent officially going to leave? In other words, what is the?
I think the official date is June 30th. I think that's her last official date.
Close the door behind the school system.
That's correct.
And off she goes.
That's correct.
There's not going to be any holdover. In other words, stay over for another 2 weeks.
No, that's not my
Okay, so
impression.
June 30th,
She's gone.
that's gone. Okay. Well, what other big issues you might have in the school department? What
Filling vacant positions, because
Filling vacant?
right now we have a number of principals who have left the system.
So
The
what
special
would-
needs director
with
also
vacant,
left.
But with vacant positions, the layoff of 49 people may have been.
Well, but you see, these people, most of those vacant positions that we absolutely have to fill are not in the categories of those people that were laid off. So we have probably 5 or 6 principals who left, who went elsewhere.
Can an administrator apply for a principalship?
If the person is certified in that field. But what's further complicating things now is the superintendent situation, because we have one superintendent who's on her way out. I'm not sure whether she's taking vacation days. She probably has some vacation days on the books. She may be taking them.
So she could be gone tomorrow.
She could be gone as of today. But
that's not going to croak the system.
No, it's not going to croak the system. However, a principal's position is critical, because the principal has to be involved with hiring new teachers, and we've lost a number of teachers also. So we first have to have a principal on board.
The principal of a school hires the new teachers.
Correct. Theoretically, I mean, it's with, in a sense, it's with the advice and consent of the superintendent. But here's the issue now.
What about the school committee?
The school committee can only appoint the superintendent. I think we may.
Now, was that like that years and years ago?
No. The laws changed in 1993. The so-called education reform law.
But before that, the school committee was
appointed everybody. And every position hired, no matter how minor a position it was,
came before the school
committee? That's right. The superintendent could recommend, but it had to go to a vote of the school committee.
Yeah, all right. So.
But it's different now. Now we appoint the superintendent. There was, I forget, maybe one other major position we appoint. Now I can't remember what it is, I can't remember. We may appoint possibly nurses or something like that, and that's it. We appoint no teachers. We appoint no other administrators. That's it. It's the superintendent's prerogative. So here's the issue. We have a number of principals positions that we have to fill. We have one superintendent who's on her way out. We have another one who's not in yet. And the later we go, the more difficult it becomes to hire not only the principals, but also the teachers, because
they're getting jobs.
Exactly. If they're looking for work, we're not the only ones who are looking for employees.
Should, because they're not going to take a chance.
Absolutely. So if this rolls into August, we have some troubles.
So what do you do?
That's a good question.
Bring in substitutes?
Well, there was some thought of naming some, of having some interim principals named. to serve until the new superintendent comes on, and then the new superintendent can hire the person or...
Do you lower the standards if someone doesn't qualify? In other words, we'll give you the job, but you have to be certified within, within a certain time, period of time.
For certain jobs, you can give a waiver. The state will give us will allow the person to work without the certification. Obviously, if we can find a person who has the certification, I'd certainly rather hire somebody with the certification.
Now, if you know, generally, are people, graduates of college, teaching schools, let's say college, are they going into teaching, or is that...
That's become a national problem because first of all, we are losing teachers earlier than, they're looking to retire or resign and go into another field earlier than they ever did before. Education has changed.
Teaching is not like it used to be.
No, it's become a much more pressure-filled job than it used to be.
More discipline.
And so we're being squeezed at both ends. People are leaving earlier, and young students are going to college in education in lesser numbers, probably half of what used to be years ago.
Oh, so that guaranteed is a major problem.
This is going to be, we have a coming crisis in education. Not many people are talking about it.
So even the reduction of class size could be a problem if you don't have enough teachers.
Absolutely, or the quality. If you have to take whatever's out there, sometimes you can't pick and choose. You may not get the best.
You want a body in a classroom.
That's right,
as they say, and teaching. I guess teaching has become a really tough profession these days. So anyway, we're down to the end of the program. Any predictions?
I wish I could predict, but I think a lot of things. I
might not be
I could be
accurate.
so far off, and most likely would be. I just hope we get it right with the superintendent's position, because that is critical.
Well, we're at the end of the program. I want to thank Gabe Andrade for coming in. I want to thank you out there for watching. And remember, we'll be back in 3 weeks with the school committee people. If you have any questions, you can contact me, or you can contact Gabe or Joe Martins and ask them directly a question that you might have on your mind. So thank you out there for watching, and I'll see you next time.